Hi, I'm Dr. Scott Graziosa from Lifeline Chiropractic. Today I'm going to use basic embryology to explain to you how chiropractic works. Now we have a male and female that come together, so a male seed and a female seed. They come together and they start to multiply and form something called a morula. Now a morula looks like a raspberry. It keeps on forming, and the first organ to develop, a lot of people think it's the heart, is actually the brain. So the brain is the first thing to form, and then the notochord is kind of like the tail of the brain. Now what happens from this point, as things multiply, fibers start to form. They form. You have lots of these fibers start to form. Basically, I like to call it kind of wires into the body and so forth. Right? Then, once the wires start to form, all these wires come out from all these spots here. All these wires form, and then you start getting the organs to form. You have the heart here, you got the lungs, digestive tract, the hands, you got the feet, right? All your organs, muscles, cells, tissues start to form. Now what's important at this point is, because this is so important, the spinal cord and the brain is encased in bone. So we got the skull there, and then we have our spinal vertebra or spinal column that protects the spinal cord. Now what's important is the brain communicates through the brainstem there, down the spinal cord, out nerves, and that communicates with every organ, muscle, cell, or tissue. So what we want, I know you guys want this, is 100% of the information so the brain can communicate with the body. And of course, we want 100% of the information from the body communicating back to the brain. Now what happens if one of these bones shift out of place or subluxate? Okay? If it shifts out of place and subluxates, 100% is not going to be there anymore. Maybe we have 70%, maybe we have 60%. But once again, you guys want 100% at all times. I know I do. So if this shifts out of place and chokes this off, we might not get all the information, the arms, hands, feet, or anything like that, or even organs, muscle cells, or tissues. We want 100%. If you cut it off here, say if you choke off the nerve here, right, you could get numbness, tingling down the arms. If you choke it off here, top bone, maybe anything all the way down could get affected. If this gets choked off here, this is where we get sciatica. We have problems with reproductive organs, bowel, bladder, because that's where those nerves go to. In this area, heart and lungs, right? So let's just draw this back in here. So with chiropractic, what we're locating is misalignments called subluxations. A fancy word or a fancy definition of subluxation is a misalignment in your spine causing pressure on the nerve, decreasing that nerve flow to the end organ, muscle, cell, tissue. This is where chiropractic comes in. Chiropractic restores the function by shifting those bones back in place, allowing the brain to communicate 100% of the information. Okay, 100% of the time for as long as we can go. Now, typical slips, falls, playing golf, exercise, sitting, desk work, old injuries, all this stuff could choke off those nerves by causing those bones to shift out of place. But that's where chiropractic comes in. We shift that bone back in place. I know I'm a broken record, but we want to restore communication from brain to body, body back to the brain, so you can function optimally. This is why we check infants right away, because they could subluxate during birth from the birthing process alone. So we check kids, they fall a lot. We all know that. This is why we check athletes, because slips and falls, they're performing so at a higher level that we want to keep them performing even higher, because slips and falls and injuries and everything does help. They're very hard on our bodies. Now you have the little old lady at Pasadena, kind of all like this, right? That's going to play a major role as well. So, but you also have chemical, you have physical and emotional stresses that plays this. So this is what chiropractic does. So basic embryology teaches us that 100% of the information to the body to function optimally has to be there at all times, because if you have any shifting of any of those bones, you will not receive 100%. It could be 0%, it could be 5, 20, 30, 50, 70, whatever it is. Basic embryology teaches us how chiropractic works. Thank you. I'm Dr. Scott Graziosa from Lifeline Chiropractic.